What's up, IG? I'm streaming live on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitch. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook, on my nonprofit account, on my personal account, because I'm getting ready to talk about something that I'm extremely passionate about, something that is changing my life right now, and I'm feeling it right now. So the first part of this stream, what's up? Say hello. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you can, join me. We dancing. Because this is breakthrough. This is breakthrough. Uh, uh, uh. Hey, hey, this is breakthrough. Yep. Uh. This is breakthrough. This is breakthrough. Feeling good. Feeling good. Feeling good. Can't dance. Don't matter. Feeling good. Feeling good. Feeling good. Can't dance. Don't matter. Feeling good. Hey, feeling good. Hey, feeling good. Hey, feeling good. Hey, hey, hey. Okay, let's go into it. Look, the music just was like, let's stop. What's up, everybody? Let me know where you're tuning in from. Man, I want to talk about unthawing emotionally. Okay, if you've ever dealt with suppressed emotion, uncommunicated feelings, let me know. Type me in the chat. Okay, and if you're watching the replay, #replay. One of the things that I've noticed is that I've got a lot of suppressed emotions, okay? And I knew it to one level, but I didn't know how much was in there. In fact, I was having a conversation with one of my family members earlier this week, and I acted completely out of character. Like, I'm not proud of the way I acted at all. Like, I yelled, I swore, I said things that I'm not proud that I said. And when I processed that moment, I realized that there was a lot of suppressed feelings that I had never communicated before out loud. In large part because I didn't know how as a kid. I wasn't taught that way. I always tell people that my father was physically present, but he was emotionally absent. Not like he intended to be that way, but my father, his dad was definitely not really actively in his life, and emotions wasn't something that my dad was necessarily taught to communicate. He was just taught like you push through, you get over things. Like, he wasn't like cry on the shoulder type of dad. Not that he would ever push me off or anything, but it was just he was a tough guy. And processing. What's up? Thank you for tuning in from DC. And one of the things that I grew up with was just that level of suppression, not communicating my emotions, not just because of my dad, but just because it wasn't something that was common. Growing up in the streets, nobody was walking around in the streets talking about how they felt. Everybody was just one life to live, smoking and drinking and living it up and just numbing themselves to the emotions. And that's the lifestyle that I lived. I sold drugs. I did drugs, and I did so to numb myself from the reality that was going on in my life. And one of the things that I've learned from being a mental health advocate and speaking on stages is the amount of suppression that people had. And I'm learning, how do we start to identify these suppressed emotions? Well, number one, you look at your emotional reaction. You look at times where you overreact to simple things, right? I always tell people, you ever be talking to somebody and you say the wrong thing and they get all hypersensitive about what you said? Right? Like, I was talking to someone the other day and I asked them about money and they were like, well, why are you asking me about that? What? And they got all defensive. And I was like, well, whoa, calm down. I just asked, what did you want to make revenue for this year? Like, I was not like trying to offend you. I wasn't trying to like be too much in your business, but there was something there that it was emotionally charged for that person. So pay attention in your life where you see these emotional spikes. Okay, you see an overreaction to something that is simple in nature. And that is an opportunity not to be like, oh, just apologize for it and kind of be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that, move on, but actually to process what was suppressed emotionally that made you overreact in that situation. And so for me, one of the things that I realized is that in large part, I didn't feel like how I saw the world mattered growing up. I felt like I had to obey by the rules that I was raised. I felt like I couldn't really have a difference of opinion. And I bottled in those emotions. And so now, as a grown adult, oftentimes when it comes to communicate my emotions, I can't even find the language to use to say it. And I give you an example. I remember talking and working through this issue with my counselor, because one of the things that, as a man, that I was taught that was an acceptable emotion was anger. Like, you could be mad and it would be like, okay, it's cool. Like, that's just a dude. Dudes have anger problems, right? Um, but one of the things that wasn't emotional is, or that wasn't acceptable, was like being an emotional person. Was that like being lovey-dovey or like vulnerable was not something that I grew up that was accepted by a man. And so early in my marriage, I would respond to everything in our marriage with like anger, right? Like, me and my wife would get into heated discussion, and I would respond with anger, and it'd be like, "Who you talking to?" Da, 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 da. And she would just get the wrath of God. And one of the things my counselor helped me to work through was to learn how to communicate what I was actually feeling, right? What I was actually feeling. And so instead of me being like, "Hey, I'm mad, I'm angry, that's high, you shouldn't talk to me like that. Who you think you is?" Da da da. I would start to say things like, "Hey, the other day when you raised your voice at me, or when you looked at me funny, or looked at me in a condescending way, that hurt my feelings." Hey, y'all want to change the world? Y'all want to change the world? Let's get men to admit that things hurt their feelings. Woo! That would change the world. Because I can tell you what, I felt like I was swallowing a golf ball. Like, literally, it was like, hurt, hurt my feelings, hurt my feel. And it was so hard for me to say. And um communicating those emotions, paying attention to my emotional spark, starting to communicate, starting to use different language, not just settling for what's the surface level thing: anger, I'm mad, I'm hurt, I'm bitter, I'm irritated, but actually diving deep to feeling what that is. And obviously, one of the great best ways to do that is to take a deep breath and allow yourself to regulate your nervous system to a feeling of safety, so you can start to feel what things felt like for you growing up. You can start to feel what things feel like you and now in the present. And I know that I wrote this lovely description and people are probably waiting for me to say more. I just realized that I have a call right now and I want to honor that call and that person's time. So I'm going to come back. We're going to do part 2, y'all. I'm so sorry. But the moral of the story is this, okay? Unthaw emotionally. Okay. Pay attention to your emotional spikes. You can unthaw by regulating your nervous system, breathing and feeling. Okay. If you can recall those moments in your past where you suppressed your emotions from a place of safety within your body today, you'll start to rewire the way that you view those memories. Okay. The second thing you can do is you can keep a journal. Okay. Journal. I always tell people unprocessed pain is ill processed pain. Whatever you don't process, you actually make the wrong conclusion about, typically. Okay. So make sure you're actually processing it through journaling. So let's do that. And then I promise you, what's up, Justin? I promise you, we will get into it more when we do part 2. Okay. So sorry. Love you. Gotta go. Peace. All right. That's Instagram. I love y'all. I'll be back. I